Good morning to you. Cold weather advisories. So we have a weather warn day again today for that dangerous cold. We'll track those temperatures for you coming up.
So do we want to hear from the 45th and 47th President of the United States?
Vice President J.D. Vance introduces President Donald Trump and the First Lady at the Liberty Ball, kicking off his second term as president.
First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
President Trump already outlining his first executive orders on day one.
And here at home, reaction from local Republicans after Trump mentions how he plans to help our recovery after Helene.
He laid out a very clear pattern and path of what he wants to do.
Breaking overnight, police officials reporting a hit and run, leaving one pedestrian dead along Patton and North Louisiana Avenue there. One driver was involved and reportedly fled the scene.
Now you're looking at pictures of police and fire crews responding before midnight. At this time, a hit and run search is active. Anyone with information is asked to contact the APD immediately.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Millions of people watched as Donald Trump took the oath of office yesterday and re-entered the presidency in a second term as this time the 47th President of the United States.
And the ceremony took place inside the Capitol Rotunda, filled with family, congressional leaders, tech giants, celebrities, foreign leaders, and presidents past. And for former President Biden, he said goodbye to his home in D.C. Here you see the 46th president and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, leaving Joint Base Andrews. Biden thanked those who helped enact his agenda as he said goodbye to public service after more than 50 years. And News 13's Gracie Matisse joins us now live from the live desk with much more on President Joe Biden's final day in office. And Gracie, Biden made some last-minute executive orders that some say was an attempt to make a lasting mark as president.
Yeah, that's right, Katie. Good morning to you. Those actions seemingly President Biden's last-ditch effort to cement his legacy. Those including clemency for close to 2,500 nonviolent drug offenders. Biden also declaring that the Equal Rights Amendment has met the requirements for ratification, therefore is a part of the U.S. Constitution. However, Biden's statement has no legal force. The U.S. president does not have an official role in approving constitutional amendments. That amendment passed by Congress in the 1970s, guaranteeing equal rights for women.
The Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land now. It's the 28th Amendment to the Constitution.
Back to you, Katie and Charles, with new information on those executive orders President Trump signed yesterday.
You got it. Thank you there, Gracie. Just hours after taking the oath of office, the president signed dozens of executive orders addressing issues like immigration and the ban on TikTok.
He also rescinded nearly 80 executive actions taken by now former President Joe Biden and issued pardons for more than 1,000 people convicted of crimes from January 6th. National correspondent Ultra El-Nashar reports from Capitol Hill.
And President Trump has now signed an executive order creating a council to assess the job FEMA is doing and make any recommendations. It comes after his visit to Buncombe County to meet with Helene victims and his visit to California wildfires and their location. Congressman Chuck Edwards issued a statement saying he is part of that council. The executive order says the council will be led by the Secretaries of Defense and Homeland Security. The skating championship began on a somber note. The latest details on the D.C. plane collision and a moment of silence for those who died.
We ask that everyone please join us in a moment of silence.
And good morning, I'm Charles Perez, and a first news this morning moment of silence was shared on Wednesday at the Midwestern Synchronized Skating Championships following the tragedy where an American Airlines flight collided with a Black Hawk helicopter before descending into the freezing Potomac River. On board, numerous members of both the Russian and U.S. skating teams. Salvage operations have been taking place right there. Now, there were a total of 67 passengers on both aircrafts. None of them survived. So far, 20 passengers have been identified from the 40 bodies recovered. In those, more than a dozen athletes, coaches, and once again family members of U.S. and Russian figure skaters. They were on the commercial flight after attending a development camp following the national championships in Wichita, Kansas. Also among the dead, 3 soldiers aboard the helicopter. We have also learned the American Airlines crew was based in Charlotte. Now, investigators are looking over the key details and helping to answer the nation's big questions. Looking at the crash again to the right of your screen, the question is, how did the plane and the Black Hawk helicopter end up in the same space at the same time right next to the airport? We turn it over to Scott Taylor at our Washington sister station for more.
Oh, big day for Western North Carolina. The President of the United States is headed here. Air Force One going to touch down behind me here in Asheville. We'll tell you everything we know about his visit, and we'll take a look back at his past visits to our area.
All right, and News 13's Gracie Matisse is live at Asheville Regional Airport for us, continuing our team coverage of this visit today. Gracie, what can you tell us?
Today, Air Force One going to be touching down behind me here in just a few hours. We are anticipating that arrival. We're going to have lots of team coverage for you throughout the day today, not only on air, but online on our website, WLOS.com. Live in Asheville, Gracie Matisse, News 13.
All right, thanks, Gracie. President Trump's visit is getting a lot of reaction from Helene victims still recovering nearly 4 months after the storm. News 13's Kimberly King talked with folks about what they would like to hear from the president in the hard-hit area of Swannanoa. All right, and we want to hear from you. Take a look at our poll question here on your screen. Do you think President Trump will bring more money to Western North Carolina? As of right now, where the poll stands, let's see. Yep. All right. 57% saying yes. President Trump will bring more money to Western North Carolina, and 43% saying no. If you have not yet cast your vote, you can still do so. Pull out your phone, scan the QR code there on your screen, and then cast your vote. And keep it right here on News 13 to track the president's visit to Western North Carolina. Our crews will provide live updates and breaking developments from the field as Trump lands. And don't forget to download our WLOS app to get updates on your phone. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube for more in-depth coverage. And after the break, the second Trump cabinet nominee is confirmed, voting results and their plans. Welcome back. We have some new political news making headlines here this morning. John Ratcliffe is now the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Vice President J.D. Vance conducted the swearing-in ceremony yesterday afternoon. Ratcliffe won with a vote of 75-25. The former Texas congressman was a high-profile defender of Trump during his first impeachment. He is the second Trump cabinet nominee to be confirmed. Marco Rubio was the first confirmed.
Here's a look at some of the new protests taking shape yesterday. On your screen, you can see protests in Atlanta, Wisconsin, Chicago, and Denver, while the protests in Los Angeles continue for the 5th day with a new curfew in place. ABC's Perry Russum is in Washington with a morning update.
It is Wednesday, April 9th. I'm Katie Killen.
And I'm Charles Perez. We're keeping our eyes on Washington, D.C. for you this morning as stiff tariffs kicked in after midnight last night, delivering more uncertainty and instability to global markets.
And in the wake of the president's tariff campaign, President Trump claims money is pouring into the U.S. at levels never seen before.
And I really think we're helped a lot by the tariff situation that's going on, which is a good situation, not a bad. It's great. It's going to be legendary. You watch. Legendary in a positive way, I have to say.
All right, but here's a look at yesterday's closing numbers. All 3 major indexes are down.
Yeah, the Dow Jones closing lower by 320 points.
And the tech-heavy NASDAQ had an even worse day percentage-wise, down more than 2% for 335 points.
And the S&P 500 lost nearly 80 points, or 1.5% of its value. The president is also saying that more than 70 countries are lining up to negotiate. But as the deadline looms, there have been mixed messages from the White House on whether the tariffs are negotiable. Trump says he's open to tailored deals with individual countries.
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. These countries are calling us up, kissing. They are. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
Well, the biggest tariff to take shape today is imposed on China.
News 13's Gracie Matisse is at the live desk debriefing these astounding tariffs. Gracie, good morning.
Good morning to you, Katie and Charles. The tariffs on China among the highest imposed by the president, totaling 104%. We're now seeing more Senate Republicans question what the president is doing, including North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis.
Of course it concerns me. I mean, my God, it's a stability issue. You know, businesses hate uncertainty. We've got a lot of uncertainty. I just hope I'll be asking a question today about who's on point.
So here's how we got to this point. President Trump announcing a 34% tariff on China last week, on top of the 20% imposed earlier this year. In response, China said it would levy its own 34% tariff on all U.S. goods. When Beijing refused to back down, the president tacked on an additional 50%, bringing the total to 104%.
And now we head to New York to get a closer look at July's tariff revenue.
That's right. Maribel Abers live on the Money Desk there with the latest. Maribel?
Good morning, Charles and Katie. The U.S. collected more than $29 billion of tariff revenue in July. That was the highest monthly total so far this year. And it also pushed the total tariff revenue collected this year to more than $152 billion, according to the Treasury Department.
Itanise McMiller joining us from the live desk. And Itanise, just hours before the deadline, the White House announced a new trade policy and tariff plan. President Trump's administration calling it the universal tariff. Itanise, can you break this down? Does this new plan apply to all countries?
Yeah, great question, Katie. Well, right before that deadline, the Trump administration imposed the universal tariff, meaning the rate on goods coming into the U.S. will remain at 10%.
While you were sleeping, flames light up the sky after a massive fire erupts at a Los Angeles refinery. The damage, danger, and what investigators are saying right now at 5.
And coming up from the live desk, the deadly car ramming and stabbing attack at a synagogue in Manchester. Why police are now on high alert here in the U.S.
Plus, new signs more Americans are living paycheck to paycheck as the government shutdown leaves thousands of workers jobless. The latest details coming right up on News 13. Check out these massive flames in metropolitan Los Angeles. A fire broke out at a Chevron refinery overnight in El Segundo, right near the airport. On the left side of your screen, you're seeing footage of the flames, and on the right side, a bystander shot this video as the fire blaze continued.
This morning, crews contained the fire to one area of the facility, and no injuries have been reported. Investigators are working to find the cause of that fire.
The refinery is the largest oil-producing facility on the West Coast, located adjacent to the Los Angeles International Airport. Reports show no flights have been affected and locals were not evacuated, but officials ask residents there to stay indoors as air quality could be affected.
From the live desk, also breaking overnight, the deadly terror attack at a British synagogue. This is a live look at the scene right now where officers are blocking off the area surrounding the temple. Police say 3 people remain in the hospital with serious injuries and 2 Jewish people died in a car ramming and stabbing attack at this synagogue in Manchester, England.
And now to a live look at Washington, D.C. behind us as lawmakers in D.C. remain deadlocked on an agreement to end the government shutdown.
The White House is warning thousands of federal workers that they could be fired, while millions wonder when they'll see their next paycheck. ABC's Johnny Fernandez has the latest.
Breaking news just into the live desk this morning. Video of today's early morning attack on Kyiv as Russia launched explosives on the capital. This is the second morning we're waking up to raging attacks on Ukraine. Kyiv's military administration says the most recent attack has left 2 people dead and 13 others wounded. There were terrible fires in at least 5 districts. This comes just a day after Moscow hammered Ukraine with its largest missile and drone attack since the war began 3 years ago. President Donald Trump, who once spoke fondly of Russian President Vladimir Putin, is now growing frustrated.
I'm not happy with Putin. I can tell you that much right now, because he's killing a lot of people.
The U.S. has resumed some shipments of defense weapons to Ukraine following the pause. And here's a live look at the Ukraine peace conference happening right now in Rome as questions over a peace deal remains. This marks the fourth Ukraine Recovery Conference dedicated to the recovery and long-term reconstruction of Ukraine since the beginning of the war. The meeting will go over stability, resilience, and security. We'll bring you more updates throughout the day.
Well, from the live desk, it is one of the busiest travel days of the year. We're getting you ready for that flight or drive. So if you're flying through Raleigh-Durham International Airport, you want to be prepared for the crowds. Airport officials are expecting around 400,000 people. So let's take a look at some travel tips that can make this holiday much more enjoyable for you. And while these won't make traveling really any faster, they are going to help your travel day go a bit smoother here. So first one, of course, arrive on time to the airport. Officials recommend 2 hours early there. Then you want to use mobile check-in at kiosks. That will cut down your time waiting in line. Of course, our favorite one, have a positive attitude. Of course, that helps in any situation. And for an extra tip, and maybe this is for a later holiday travel situation, consider joining TSA PreCheck to reduce your time at security screenings.
Good morning. Today's Wednesday, June 25th. I'm Charles Perez.
And I'm Katie Killen. Let's go ahead and toss things over to meteorologist Megan Danahay standing by in the Weather Center for us. And Megan, I can see it right there. Another weather warn day here.
Yeah, this high impact heat dome that's impacting so many Americans, still impacting us here in Western North Carolina and in the upstate. Wanted to recap the summer rainfall for us from June to August. We picked up 17.66 inches, which is a surplus of 3.16 inches. September, we did record a deficit of less than an inch. We do have a surplus for the year, but it's not much. You can see here just about an inch of surplus to work with. We're at a delicate balance, as we just saw there, Gracie, of near normal rainfall going into October. July and August were wetter than normal. A deficit in September. We do have that dry stretch going into the weekend, and of course here we go into wildfire season, and we're at a higher risk this year, right? You're live to tell us why we're at that risk and maybe give us some safety tips.
Absolutely, Megan. And as you said, it's even more important right now during this dry period. The North Carolina Forest Service explained to me that the fallen trees and debris still here from Helene put us at a huge risk, and it could even inhibit your escape route in the case of a fire.
And we continue this morning with some new developments on the fire burning along Bat Cave Road south of Old Fort. Officials say it has now scorched 250 acres and is now 15% contained. News 13's Gracie Macis joins us live from McDowell County with latest on these growing fires. Gracie, how are the conditions there this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, Charles, certainly can smell and see the smoke in this area. Folks in the Bat Cave Road, Pine Cove Road, and also this Crooked Creek community getting some of these evacuation orders and told to do that immediately. Now, I'm in contact with some of these officials. They say that they will have an update shortly, and we'll bring you that as soon as we get it.
And here at home, Polk County residents are moving back to their homes as mandatory evacuations are lifted. At this hour, hundreds of personnel are still at the Black Complex fires in the woods, making sure smoldering hot spots don't flare back up. The fire officials report are out, but some areas are still smoldering out there.
A lot of the crews are like seeing this progress towards getting it all in the black and making sure we have all these lines sewn up.
The 3 Polk County fires totaled more than 7,000 acres. Tonight at 5 and 6, we'll hear from residents moving back and trying to return to some sense of normalcy after a very challenging week of evacuations. And for the latest updates on containment outside of Polk, the Table Rock fire is 9% contained and mostly impacting the upstate. The fire has burned around 600 acres in Transylvania County. The Alarka fire in Swain County is burning more than 1,500 acres and is now 37% contained. In Haywood County, the Rattlesnake Branch fire has burned more than 1,800 acres and is now 21% contained. All right, take a look at this map. It shows the active fires and the air quality in surrounding areas across western North Carolina. The valleys and South Ridge tops of Asheville are under a code yellow. Sensitive breathers should limit outside time. Thankfully, the North Ridge tops are showing green, so that means no health impacts are expected. And we bring good news as mandatory evacuations in Transylvania, Henderson, and Swain counties have all been lifted. And despite the incoming weather, a statewide burn ban is still in effect. No grilling, bonfires, or campfires are allowed until further notice. And it's great news for Polk residents, the rain that is, after those fires across the region. And at this hour, crews are out making sure smoldering hot spots don't flare back up. Kim King is live at the command center. And Kim, there are hundreds of personnel there right now.
Katie, that's right. This is a proactive step, just as they've been doing all for the last 2 weeks. And they're out on these fire lines, just making sure that there are any hot spots there, that they are under control, because we have warmer and dry weather ahead.
As we approach the one-year mark of Helene, we revisit those hard-hit communities. Day 3 kicks off here in McDowell County. And checking in with our very own Gracie Palmer this morning. Gracie, hang tight. We'll be back with you shortly to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a look back at McDowell County nearly 1 year later. These pictures provided by Will Keller. That's McDowell's Emergency Service Director. From these pictures, the most noticeable sign of the storm you can see there on the left is the mud. You can see the streets, houses, and trees just covered. But when the dust settled, the county was looking at 500 recovery or rebuild projects. And as that rebuilding effort continues there, McDowell County officials say this is a lengthy process that could take up to 2 years to complete. And because of the lingering effects of Helene, the Internal Revenue Service has further postponed a wide range of tax deadlines for taxpayers throughout North Carolina until tomorrow. And heading back to McDowell County now for our Helene 1 year live coverage, it's our very own Charles Perez. And Charles, how are things there nearly a year later?
Well, I'll tell you, Katie, to reference something you just said, popping around the mountains, one thing has become really obvious. This recovery is certainly a team effort, and a team needs what? A captain. Well, right here in Old Fort, we're about to introduce you to Pam Snipes. Come on in, Pam. You are the mayor of Old Fort.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You know, she just shared something with me really interesting. You became mayor the month before the storm hit.
Yes, sir. I was appointed mayor 1 month before the storm hit.
That's one heck of a baptism, I will tell you.
It is.
In a relatively short period of time.
Exactly.
Yeah. What does it say? One shovel at a time?
One shovel at a time. It takes the village. It really does.
It really does. Hey, Mayor Pam Snipes, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for coming over.
You got it. On that note, we're going to go ahead and send it down to Gracie Palmer. She's a bit up the road from here with the latest on really what is the backbone of our economy here, which is tourism. Gracie.
Charles, I love it. You guys are so correct. One shovel at a time, and that is exactly how the folks felt over here in the Buck Creek area.
Good morning to you on this Friday, September 26th. I'm Katie Killen. This is our 5th day highlighting counties across western North Carolina deeply impacted by Helene as we approach that 1 year milestone tomorrow. Let's take a live look at our very own Charles Perez there in Buncombe County on your left, Gracie Palmer there on your right in Henderson County. Both are on special assignment this week, talking all things resilience and recovery. Hang tight, you guys. We're going to be coming to both of you here shortly. All right, and is there a timeline set when they hope to have the project finished, those 9 holes back up and running there, Gracie?
Katie, great question. They could not give me an exact timeline on when they expect to have the holes finished, but they did say that they are hoping to start construction in the next few years.
Wow, well, a quick update for viewers then. Are there any other courses out there for players to enjoy, Gracie?
So, Charles, there are a number of private disc golf courses, but the only other city-owned disc golf course was Richmond Hills, which was flooded during the hurricane. So I'll keep you updated as that comes back up and running. But as for right now, they are holding private showings just for the teachers in Madison County.
And so, Gracie, if the property does not make a sale, then what will happen to the home?
Well, that's a great question. If there are no buyers from the school, it will go on the market for the public.
Tomorrow morning on News 13.
Repairs coming to parking garages right here in Asheville. We'll let you know what areas to avoid, plus how long they are expected to take.
And rain and storm chances remain elevated, but temperatures are going down in your Skywatch forecast.